troubles, that's what you do. There's a love that's defined, and it's yours and it's mine, like the sun. And at the end of the day, we should give thanks and praise to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Take away all my sadness, fill my life with gladness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Take away all my sadness, fill my life with gladness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. You're my peace of mind in this crazy world. You're everything I've tried to find. Your love is a pearl. You're my morning sun. You're my rainbow skies, and my only prayer is that you realize you'll always be beautiful in my eyes. The world will turn and the seasons will change, and all the lessons we will learn will be beautiful and strange. We'll have our tears, our share of sight. My only prayer is that you realize you'll always be beautiful in my eyes. You'll always be beautiful in my eyes. The passing years will show that you will always grow.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? How are you keeping? We are excited and honored to have you this evening. I was sorting a few things, so unfortunately, I wasn't able to. Yeah, sometimes technology just does something to you, but yeah. How are you guys? How are you doing? How are you? And you can tell me on the chat, how are you doing? How was your week? How's the week going? And again, where are you tuning in from? Thank you very much for joining us on Get It Right with Atara Solutions. This is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. My name is Grace Nzula. I'm an HR consultant with Atara Solutions, and I'm very, very excited to be here and to see you guys. Thank you very much for joining us. And with me is Catherine Sidandi. Catherine Sidandi is our sign language interpreter. She does an amazing job with sign language interpretation, and also she helps us be inclusive. She's such an amazing soul. She's a blessing to us and to the community that she serves, and we really appreciate you. And of course, we have my co-host, Mr. Richard. Richard Magoma, you want to introduce yourself?
Grace Nzula, the moderator, please, how are you doing? It's very good to see you around this Tuesday.
Your video is off, Richard. Is it by design?
No. It is good to see you this Tuesday evening when we come to demystify concepts that are related to business and professional excellence. It is a good forum for having conversations that can elevate us to better areas of performance. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Richard J. Magoma. I am a human resource practitioner of over 10 years, but I specialize in preparing people for interviews, and I also coach, mentor people in public speaking. I can't wait to hear what Anne has for us, for those of us who are diving into HR consultancy. You're welcome. Thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you, Richard. It's an honor to have you. Okay. I think my YouTube was misbehaving, but yeah, it is such an honor to have you, Richard. And thank you very much for being here and being my co-host and just supporting the dreams of Atara Solutions and get it right with Atara Solutions. It's amazing to have you, and we are honored. And of course, I am amazed to see the panel, the attendance. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you. I see we have David Joseph from Namibia. Opakwa, you have disappeared. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You have missed out on a lot. I hope the YouTube channel has been of support and help to you. And I've seen we have quite a number of people here. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, allow me to give a shout out to our partners just quickly, and then we can get to the business of the day with Madam Anne Wamonje. Allow us to do that just now. Excellent, excellent. All right. So we have Nile Front Cottages. Nile Front Cottages are cottages located in Jinja, Uganda. If you are in Uganda, if you are in Kenya, if you are in Tanzania, if you are even David from Namibia, if you happen to be in Uganda, Jinja, you need to go and visit Nile Front Cottages. Nile Front Cottages are cottages located in Jinja. It is such a beautiful place that is near where Lake Naivasha, Lake Victoria meets with River Nile. It is so beautiful and totally worth it. The Ugandans who are on the call, please visit Nile Front Cottages. It's very easy. For Kenyans, it's only 1 hour, 2 hours from Busia border. It is actually worth your while, I tell you. You need to actually visit it and just get to experience what Nile Front Cottages have to offer. And if you're in Jinja, just passing by, please pass by Skia Restaurant. It's a restaurant in Jinja town that supports those with hearing impairment, and they have the most amazing cookies and ice cream. Please make sure you visit there if you're just around Jinja. and even just get to experience that. And then we have Profiles International. Profiles International, if you're looking to become a Genius Emotional Intelligence coach, then you need to sign up with Profiles International. And then we have K-Square HR Services. I'll tell you more about what K-Square HR Services has in store this month of April. We are going down in Uganda. I'll tell you more about it in a bit. But K-Square Services are HR consultants in Kigali, Rwanda. If you're looking for support or if you're looking to carry out a project in Kigali, Rwanda, then K-Square HR Services will be the best people for you. And then we have Steadfast Quality Solutions. Steadfast Quality Solutions are the consultants, HR consulting and public relations company. They're located in Kampala, Uganda. This organization is led by my good friend Herbert Zake. If you're looking to have your board training and board evaluations done, then Steadfast Quality Solutions would be the best people. And then Herbert Zake is a Gallup Strengths certified coach. If you're looking for a coach, then you need to sign up with Herbert Zake, who has coached over 500 executives. He's such an amazing person that you would enjoy working the journey with him. And then we have AR Insurance for all your insurance needs. We have Hotel Sapphire. If you're looking for a conference facility around Mombasa town, then you need to sign to visit Hotel Sapphire. If you're looking for a place to relax in Mombasa, then again, you need to visit Hotel Sapphire in Mombasa town. And then we have Tufaha Resort. Tufaha Resort is a resort located in Nanyuki, and we shall be visiting them this weekend on Saturday. All roads lead to Tufaha Resort. We have an amazing conference coming up, and I'll tell you about it just in a bit. And then we have Panessa Training Institute. If you're looking to study woodworking, if you're looking to understand woodworking, if you're looking to just do a few DIYs, then you need to sign up with Panessa Training Institute. They're the best people in furniture and wood industry, and you need to just join them. And then if you have looking for a circle to join, then please sign up with Port Circle. And then we have Sotet Kinyumbani. Sotet Kinyumbani is a restaurant located in Nanyuki town. So if you're here and you live around Nanyuki in Kenya, you need to go for lunch or dinner or breakfast at Sotet Kinyumbani. They have just the most delicious African food that you can take advantage of and visit them. The rates are really, really awesome. It is such a fantastic place that you actually need to take your time and visit. And then, of course, I've told you guys we have something in store for you on the 12th of April. That is on Saturday, this coming Saturday from 2 p.m. We are gathering at Tufaha Resort down in Nanyuki. We are set for an evening of fun, learning, networking, and food. And this is only at a 4,500. If you're looking to spend the night or a way to get there, actually we are closing on transport tomorrow, please do get in touch with us and come, network, meet fellow HR professionals, meet fellow business people, meet other professionals as well. We shall be down in Nanyuki, on Saturday from 2 o'clock at Tufaha Resort. And this is the 4,500 is actually inclusive of dinner. So you don't worry about dinner. We also have 4 o'clock tea, like I said. It is an evening of learning, networking, fun, and food. We are going to be doing a bit of dancing. We are going just to be enjoying ourselves as we learn. And as we were talking yesterday, work-life integration at its best. And then I told you about K-Square Career Center or K-Square Human Resource Consulting Company. There's an emotional intelligence and mental health support for people performance executive masterclass that is happening down in Kampala at Serena Hotel on the 24th to 25th of April. This one is going for 1 million Uganda shillings or $300 for non-Ugandans, or rather for international community, for the Kenyans, for Rwandans, for Tanzanians, for anyone who wants to join us, please join us in Kampala for this executive masterclass on emotional intelligence. And you can see we have amazing speakers that are lined up. We've hosted Emily Aneno here. Rachel Dumba is a well-known, well-established speaker. Pepe Minabo, we all know him. And among others, we have an amazing lineup of speakers for those 2 days of impact learning and just being able to grow on your emotional intelligence and mental health support for both yourself and the organization. So please join us down in Kampala from the 24th and 25th of this month, April, for more learning and interactions. All right. So at this point, yes, Anna Shayo from Tanzania, greetings for you as well. So at this point in time, we want to discuss how to transition from HR to HR consultants. And I tell you, I have been seeing people with 2 years experience calling themselves consultants. And I keep wondering, at what point did you transition? And what exactly, who is a HR consultant? And how do you qualify to become one? What exactly are the do's, the don'ts? These are the conversations, and probably I'm not too sure what our speaker has in store, but we have one of the best HR consultants we have in this country, and her name is CHRP Anne Wamonje. She also happens to be my colleague, and I say that with all pun intended, but she's an amazing soul, and she will tell us how do we transition from HR to HR consultants. Karibu sana, Anne.
All right. Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you for the welcome. Thank you for everybody who has joined this session tonight. My name is CHRP Anne Wamonje, and I am a certified HR practitioner. So today we'll be discussing the transition from being a HR professional to a HR consultant. And I think one of the most misused terms that I have come across so far is HR consultant. So somebody has gotten their CHRP or their diploma or their degree and practiced HR for 2 years in a HR consultancy firm, and suddenly they have become HR consultants. And the challenge with that is the lack of exposure that you need to be able to do the consulting work and what it entails. So as we have this conversation today, first we'll try to understand what exactly does a HR consultant do? What are some of the expectations? How do you move into the consultancy business and stuff like that? So I would also want us to have an engaging session. So you will also be sharing with us your experiences with in the chat, so that whether you are here as a HR practitioner who is looking to transition into consultancy, or you're here as a potential client that is looking for a HR consultant, you can be able to make your choices very wisely. So with that said, allow me to just share my screen so that we can get on with the business of the night. Grace said day, so depending on what you're doing and where you are, I want to assume it is night. So just 1 second. All right. So like I've put it, I am a certified HR practitioner in Kenya, and I have been practicing HR for a bit, so slightly over 13 years. I hold a master's in HR and a bachelor's in the same field. And currently I work as a HR consultant. I have been a practitioner. Of course, a consultant is still a HR practitioner by design. I am also a trainer, and I am an award-winning HR mentor. We have just concluded our 8 weeks HR mentorship program for HR officers transitioning to HR management positions. And I can see some of our mentees are actually within this forum. So karibuni sana, Simon Frank and the team. Asante. Then we currently I handle projects at Atara Solutions. I am a fitness and wellness advocate, and I also write on my HR blog. I haven't written there in a while, so I will resume that moving forward. But then before I move any further, it's important for you to understand what we do as Atara Solutions. Since we are discussing HR consultancy, we are a HR consultancy firm. And part of our services include recruitment services. For instance, right now we are looking to engage a HR manager a trade and marketing lead. We are also looking to engage an architect for design as a design manager. And we also have a client in the music industry who is looking for a music curator and social media manager. So if you are interested in any of the positions I have mentioned, or you know somebody who may be interested, you may follow me on LinkedIn. I have posted the jobs there, except for the curator and social media that will follow soon. But I've posted the jobs on my social media platform. My name is Anwa Monja. You can search and see what the minimum qualifications are and make an application, and we shall reach out. Also, we do HR consulting. So there are instances where a client is looking to have a one-off project done and we are out. And this is mainly in the different HR fields. So part of HR consulting that we do is the recruitment services. Of course, there's somebody who will be looking for change management. There's somebody who is looking for compliance, etc. We also offer training services. So if you're looking to train your team on soft skills and HR related subjects, please reach out to us at any time. We'll be able to get back to you with a detailed proposal. We are also your HR manager outsourced. Assuming that you do not want to hire a full-time HR person and you want to be able to focus on your core business and let us handle your people problems, we are open to that. So we'll be able to run your HR department end to end. And also if you're looking for team building facilitation, every other time organizations say that our people are bored and what, so we would like to give them some fun. Also, you may email us or reach us out on WhatsApp or whichever means you may have, and we'll be able to get back to you with a detailed proposal. So part of this is what the conversation that we're going to be having tonight is about. Not necessarily what Atara is doing, but what you could be able to do as a HR consultant. So when you are looking at yourself as a HR consultant, you know, generally when you're hired as a HR practitioner, you are an employee of that organization and you are hired internally to handle all HR related matters. There are instances where an organization may be looking to have a consultant who is an external person, but then there are sometimes they can be able to have somebody they have inside as still consultants or consultancy basis. So the thing about consultancy is that the client assumes you are the expert in that field. So it means that the advice or the guidance that you are providing must be well thought through, well researched in such a way that it meets the needs that the client has at that time. So that is why when we started out and we were talking about 1 year experience in consultancy and suddenly you have become a full-time consultant, I think that is kind of playing your hands, if I want to put it more nicely. So generally, it is advisable that at least you have the basic understanding or the basic background or knowledge of HR itself. You have to have experienced the ground first for you to have the confidence to actually advise a client that compliance is done in this and that way. You have to have had experience on that field, because otherwise what you are telling the client is what in the streets of Nairobi we call stories ajaba. So how do you move from stories ajaba to an expert? We are going to look at that as we move forward. So why do I, as a business, require a consultant? I may be able to require a consultant to be able to help me in developing training. Like, for example, what we have said here in Atara, we do training, we offer training services. So you may want to have somebody from outside come in to be able to assess the situation within your company in terms of what are the training needs that are required. So you'll do what we probably call a training audit. So you get to understand what are the training needs that are there, that are existing within that organization. Because sometimes as an internal HR, when you ask for some of this information, you might not outrightly get it. So getting a consultant, a third party would be ideal. Also, a consultant would assist you in developing your staff. So from the training needs that you have established, so what are the staff development needs that you can be able to offer that organization? So that is where you'll come in to design all the development need proposal to the client and see how do you implement the same on a face-by-face basis. Then we move to recruiting the best talent. Recruitment remains one of the most difficult, yet seems very easy service to organizations. And unfortunately, in most organizations, everybody believes that they can recruit. I can tell you that that is a scam. Not everybody has the capacity to recruit. Recruitment goes beyond just checking the boxes in terms of the minimum requirements. There are other things that an expert would be able to spot that somebody who is ticking boxes would not spot. Because there are instances where you get a very good candidate who ticks all the boxes that you're looking for, but they lack what we call the cultural fit. If you are not an expert in recruitment, you will miss the cultural fit part. You will tick the boxes and hire the person, and then across the road, you will see dust. So that is why you probably want to engage a consultant. Then one of the biggest areas for most organizations is matters compliance. When you walk around a lot of organizations, you will find that they have been operating for a long period, but compliance has not really been a key priority. Because what we say that if it works, why do we have to change anything? Then along the way, you realize that you have not complied to a lot of legislations. And here, when you're talking about compliance, we're talking about the legislative part of things. Like, for example, we have the statutories compliance, we have the legal compliance in terms of the due process, we have the minimum expectations that are provided under the law for you as an employer to have, like in terms of leave that you're offering, in terms of occupational safety and health and stuff like that. So when you bring in a consultant who is able to do an audit, they can be able to give you a summary of the compliance gaps that you have so that you can be able to fix that. Then also consultancy frees you for internal business projects. Because like when I said you bring in a consultant so that you can focus on your core business, then this is where it falls. Most of the time when people call us to come in as consultants, they tell us, I am tired of dealing with people. You people come and handle the people problems that I have, so that I can focus on getting clients, I can focus on engaging clients. So it frees your hand a lot, because the more employees you have, the more people problems you have. So if you started out as 5 people, in 1 year when you grow to 15, as the business owner, you might have even forgotten who the 15th person is by name, because you used to know the 5 people for the longest. Suddenly you have grown, you don't know who joined when, and they are all coming in with all sorts of issues. So for you to be able to focus on business projects, you bring in a consultant, and that is tied very closely to business functions. And of course, there's the aspect of litigation guidance, which is tied to aspects of compliance. Because if you are not compliant with the legislations provided, of course, litigation is your middle name. And you will find that there are organizations who spend most of their Thursday and Friday afternoons in the labor office trying to sort out this and that problem, because every other employee is coming in to register a labor complaint. So when you bring in somebody who actually understands what kind of industrial issues may arise due to non-compliance with the HR processes, then you will be able to avoid a lot of litigations. So as a HR consultant, one of your key functions would be to identify problems and propose solutions. That differentiates you from the internal HR. I know there are internal HR people their primary role is to just identify problems. But as a consultant, you're not just identifying the problems, you must also be proposing solutions, because you are coming in to offer a solution to the client, something that would be able to meet their need and fix the problem that they already have. So if you come in and you do an audit, as a consultant, and the only thing you have told the client is we have seen problem here, we have seen there, and whatever, then you do not provide them with recommendations in terms of solutions and how to go about the implementation, you would have done that job halfway. And instead of helping the client, you would have actually doubled the problems that they originally had. Number two is provide advice to HR personnel. In organizations, everybody believes that they are the HR. They understand the HR work. And we use this common phrase where you say, I know my rights. I will come back to that. However, as a consultant, your job is to provide expert advice, legal advice. What the client does with that information is entirely up to them. However, your role is to advise HR personnel and also the management and the client precisely on how do they resolve the issues that they have that are HR related in a legal and compliant way. Also, your role is to develop strategies to drive change. The reason a client has called you as a consultant is because they are looking to move from point A to point B, or they are trying to fix this problem so that they can move forward to the next level. So it means that aside from the identification of the problems here, you need to be able to come up with strategies. How do we transition from where we are right now to the next level? You know, if the issues that the client has is around performance management, then how do you assist the client to be able to come up with accountability for every other stuff that they have, so that we can be able to know so-and-so is doing this and that, and this is how we measure their performance in terms of the key performance indicators. Then also, your role as a consultant is to handle culture management. Culture. When you come in as a consultant, the client will tell you, you know, we have this and that problem, and this has come up because there is a very bad culture inside here in terms of the way people behave, da 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 da. So as you come in as a consultant, one of the things you want to understand is these behaviors that the client is complaining about. Are they behaviors that have been enabled from the top, or they are bad behaviors that the employees have developed for themselves down here, and they are consistently implementing? Because even as you do culture management, one of the key focus areas is always the top management, because the employees will always follow suit. They will follow what the top management has condoned. So that is part of your role as a consultant. Number two is also develop flexible employee control systems. I know there are organizations where we read policies, we say this policy says that, this is how we do this and that. And so we are not able to give room for employees to make any adjustments in terms of, if we say you have to come to work between 8 and 5, any employee who arrives between 8:01, from 8:01 will now be surcharged for lateness. But where is the flexibility? Because are you measuring the arrival time, or are you measuring the productivity? Which one comes first, or which one is more important? So even as a consultant, when you're engaged by a client, you need to be able to provide recommendations to clients that are not too rigid, because employment is a relationship. And just like any other relationship, there has to be room for flexibility. If you always just walk moving forward and following the same, looking at the same direction, you might never know what is happening on your left or on your right. And probably some of the solutions to your problems are on your left or right hand. But because you're focused on the front part, where you're moving towards, you never see any other options. So that your job as a consultant is to open the eyes of the client to see the other options that are available. And finally, to review strategies and improve workflow. It is tied very closely to strategies that drive change. The client is engaging a consultant because they want improvement. Otherwise, they would still remain with the kind of people that they have. But because they have brought you on board, it is because they are looking for something different. So you need to be able to look at the current existing strategies before you make any recommendations as to what needs to change. So why choose a consultant? First, I'm choosing a consultant based on skills and expertise. Do you have the skill set for the terms of reference that have been provided by the client? If the client says they want somebody who can do a salary survey, and you are a HR practitioner who has been in the field for 3 years and has now transitioned to consultancy, and you have said, yes, I am able to do salary survey, is that even practical? You see, so we will, as we discuss the transitioning bit of things, we will be able to look at your skill set, because your skill set will determine the kind of jobs that you take as a consultant, because you cannot do everything. There is the general assumption that as a HR consultant, you can do everything in HR. You can't. There are things that you're very good at, and then there are things that you are learning. So you need to differentiate which ones I am very good at and which ones am I still learning. The other reason why I choose a consultant is because of savings and investment. Why savings? When you have a consistent HR person in your organization, salary is a recurring expense. So it means you have to pay this person on a monthly basis. But if you bring in a consultant on a one-off job, then it means that the TORs are actually very clearly set out, and you know the timelines for this project. And so once they are done, they are out. You know, and then as an investment, at the end of the day, for a consultant, the client has in mind what they are looking at in terms of the deliverables. If you do not meet those deliverables at the end of the timelines they have provided, they will probably not pay you. So that is why they are choosing to get a consultant as opposed to having the HR who will be paid on a monthly basis, whether they are delivering or not. Then the consultant brings in the unique solutions and objectivity, because you are not consistently within that organization. You can see things the client cannot see, or they see and they assume that it is normal. So that is why your objectivity comes in very handy, because you have not joined you have not joined the system. So your unique solutions are tied specifically to the needs that the client has set out during your initial meeting. Then, of course, there is the indispensable help. They can always call on to you when they need assistance. So what are some of the qualities of a good consultant? First of all, you have to be knowledgeable in your field. Like I said, as a HR person, you cannot claim to be an expert in everything HR. So, however, if you decide to take up a job with a client and you tell them, I would like to get that job done because I can, then you have to have knowledge in that field. And as somebody who is just transitioning from a HR professional point to a consultant, you have to understand which are my strong points. There are people who love recruitment. So they have spent a lot of time coming up with the best ways to recruit, analyzing candidates from start to finish, and they will be able to do a perfect job. But if you put that same person to do performance management work, then they will not be able to succeed there. So you need to be able to understand, where does my knowledge lie as far as HR work is concerned? In your profiles, as you're developing your profile and everything, I know you will put expertise in but at the end of the day, we know that there are still work that you will struggle with, and then there is that one that you will do with ease. So pick your struggle. Number two, a good consultant is able to communicate complex information and ideas to the client. You cannot operate on the assumption that the client understands HR matters. even if they claim to understand, they will tell you that they understand that issue because they are the business owner. And of course, they have been doing it for a long time. But you may realize that the way they have been doing it is actually not the way it is supposed to be done. And that's where the compliance aspect comes in. So how do you communicate, especially the legal aspect of things, to the client in a manner that they can understand? You have to break it down to them so that they know. If you tell them, we need to follow the due process, what do you mean? What is a due process? So the client understands you have to follow this and that step to that step before you exit somebody from the company. If you're trying to explain to them, how do we set up key performance indicators? Then you have to take them through understanding the business strategy, developing objectives for your business. You're coming up with the key result areas. You're developing your KPIs, etc., until you cascade them down to the lowest level of the organization, so that the KPIs of the manager do not sound like the KPIs of the housekeeper. You see? Then also, a consultant is adaptable to new situations and thinks creatively. And creatively is very important here, especially when you're transitioning from your normal 8 to 5 job and now you're coming into HR consultancy work, because I can tell you there are things that there is work that you will come in with the and you have agreed with the client in terms of what the scope is, and then you realize what you had discussed and how the ground looks like are not the same. So how do you work with what you have? How do you get the job done within the timelines the client has provided without losing money? Because every time a project exceeds its timelines, it becomes a loss-making project for you as a consultant. If you had agreed with the client that this job will take 3 months, if it moves to the 4th month, you have started making losses on that project. So also, how do you stay flexible to changing situations? You came in, the client told you they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 documents. So your job will just be to come in and review and just do a little fixing here and there. Then the client sends the documents and you look at them and you're like, what is this? And now it means you have to create the documents from scratch. So how do you adapt to that kind of situation and still be able to deliver to the client according to expectations? Also, as a consultant, you have to manage your time and meet your deadlines. There is no debate about that. Like I have said, every time a project you have picked up with the client exceeds its timelines, as you had agreed, it becomes a loss-making project. And then also, when you tell a client, I will deliver in 1 month, and especially as a brand new consultant, you better be delivering in 3 weeks or exactly 1 month. Because consultancy, mostly, it's a referral game. It's a matter of reputation. So if you are known to be the kind of person who makes promises they cannot deliver, then clients will stop trusting you. And the moment you botch one job, it means that every other subsequent job that the client is thinking to give you, they will find another person who can do it better. So it is important for you to manage your time very well and to be able to meet the deadlines, so that, and normally this is an advice that we give. If the job would be able to take you 4 weeks, you would probably want to tell the client 6 weeks, so that you can be able to deliver in the 4 weeks, or in case of any other eventualities, 5 to be the most, so you can still be operating within the timelines that you had agreed. But if you said 4 weeks and then you deliver in 8 weeks after the client has followed you 10 times, then you would have lost it. So for us who are looking to join HR consultancy from our full-time jobs, one of the things that Grace and I says is we are small business owners. It means that as an entrepreneur in this town, there are the pros and the cons of consulting. And we are going to look at that, because it is important for you to understand that having a consistent salary every 28th day of the month, and then walking into a scenario where you don't know whether the money is coming or not coming can be very, I don't want to say demoralizing, but it is very stressful. In fact, you will wake up in the middle of the night and you're wondering, my God, how am I going to pay rent? Why did I even quit that job in the first place? You see, but then again, it is a risk that is worth taking. So what are the pros and the cons of consulting? So, and this one, please listen very carefully for those who have been having these thoughts. And this is not aimed at scaring anybody. It is what it is. And this is how the ground looks like. Working life. One of the best things about consulting work is that you really do work on very interesting business problems. In fact, a lot of the things that you probably may not have experienced too much of in your current job, one or two of your clients will be able to have such problems that you need to deal with. And every assignment is generally very challenging in its own way. And that is what grows us as HR professionals. So that is a very good part of it. Then also, you also get to work with smart and impressive people. And sometimes there's the flip side of that is sometimes the people are not very smart. So you can also take that to the bank, because there are clients who you are trailing them this, but their understanding is that, and they're consulting 11 others. And now you don't know whether you are talking to them or you are talking to the 11. But then you will find that with every client that you go into, when you go to a client in a banking industry, you learn a lot about the banking industry. Then you move into somebody who is in private security, and then you go into somebody who is running their clothing business. So there are very, very interesting people out there that you get to work with. And you get to understand a lot, really, about running a business in every industry. In fact, hey, HR consulting is the one place that you find yourself working in all the industries that can ever be. Then you also receive great training in problem solving and business leadership. I can tell you, there's no way you can consult for a client in their area of business without understanding their business. You cannot just come in and get the job done without understanding what exactly that client does and what solutions they offer to their potential clients. So that is a very nice thing. And it gives you an opportunity to solve problems that, first of all, you did not know existed. There is a client of ours that is in the trading business. Grace and I have never worked in trading. In fact, the first time I closely heard about trading was with this particular client. And when we had our initial meeting and we sat down with him and he explained to me on a detail by detail what their business does, I left with a headache because I was trying to understand, honestly, what are these guys doing? And how am I supposed to fit into this kind of business? I have no prior experience. I don't know about finance and everything else. But over time, I have come to understand actually what that business does precisely. And I am able to run some of the meetings for them because, it is a learning process. And my job there is to support them and fix the problems that they probably have as we move forward. Also, the other advantage is that you get a chance to influence major change. As a consultant, you come in as an expert. Your opinion actually does matter. In fact, the client will take your opinion more seriously than they take that of their internal HR. So it means if there are changes that need to be made, sometimes the internal HR comes in and tells us, by the way, you need to tell the boss that they need to change 1, 2, 3. I think they will hear you. And actually they do hear. And they will be able to effect that, as opposed to when it was said by an internal HR. But then the flip side, you may easily start to feel the imposter syndrome. And why is that? Your role as a consultant is to solve problems on behalf of the client. If there is any background noise, please bear with me. It's raining where I am. So that is just the sound of rain. I will try to shout a bit so that you guys can hear what I'm saying. Just 1 second. Just give me a second, Catherine, Grace, so that I close.
Yes, Anne, no problem.
Yeah. All right.
And we can also hear you. We can't hear the noise actually.
Oh, okay. All right. Then
yeah.
that's fine. Then let's just proceed. I thought it was a bit noisy with the rain. Okay.
No, we're good.
All right. So I was explaining the aspect of the imposter syndrome. The thing is this, your role is to offer solutions to clients' problems. It is very easy to start feeling like you are not doing enough. Sometimes you can be breaking your back so much so that you are always available to this client as we move, and you still feel like you're not doing enough because you're trying to fix problems, and sometimes these problems require very long-term solutions. But because you came in on a short-term engagement, you are trying to just fix them as you go. So you're like, why am I not able to solve the issues that have been raised by the client? And it's okay. You will learn through it and you move forward. You start to accept the things that you can control and the ones that you cannot control. Also, on the flip, we have the tight deadlines that create a lot of pressure. When a client comes to you and tells you that I am looking for a brand manager with 15 years of experience, and if I can be able to get them in the next 2 weeks, that would be very nice. Trust me. You will go to LinkedIn, you will send people requests. They will take 2 weeks to come back to you. You will place an ad. You will find 5 people only who have applied. All of them do not meet the minimum qualifications. And you have a client here who has given you 14 days to be able to give them a brand manager. There is a lot of pressure that comes in when you are working in consultancy. Also, at the same time, because you're juggling so many clients, at this time as a professional, you have one job and you have one employer. So it means you report to one employer. The consultant, you report to as many clients as you serve. So it means that you have to juggle all the needs as you move forward. So there's a lot of pressure that comes that. And also, sometimes you fail to see the impact of your work. And it's tied to the imposter syndrome that I am talking about. You have done everything humanly possible, but you just cannot see any change in that organization, especially when you come in as a consultant in an organization that has been going through a lot. The changes that you are trying to make do not show immediately. It takes time. And with that comes in the aspect of, why am I even here in the first place? So those are some of the things that you need to be able to look out for as a new consultant and see how do you balance, or how do you find the balance. Now, the other thing is on the lifestyle and the personal life. The advantage you have is that you have good income, especially if you do your costings properly in terms of projects. I know as you come in as a new consultant, one of the biggest challenges you might face is, how do I cost projects? And there are different factors to look at when you are costing for a particular project: the scope of work, the time you will take, the resources that you will need, etc. So if you cost your projects properly, then you would be able to actually earn money, good money, that you did not get during your salary times. And also you would be able to enjoy travel perks. If the client is in Lamu and they want you to do a job there, they should be able to pay for your air ticket to Lamu and your accommodation and your meals and everything. It's fun. On the flip side, can I hear hallelujah on the long hours? Trust me, you are always working as a consultant. I was on a holiday last year with my friends and I carried my laptop. And the first thing they told me when they saw me at the airport is like, I hope that is not your laptop that is behind you. And I told them, this is my office. So, my friend, if I don't put in the work, the money is not going to come. And that aside, on weekends, you will be working. On Sunday, people are going to church and coming back. You are literally, if you do not find a balance as a consultant, you will find yourself, you never know when the weekend started and when it ended. You don't know whether it is Monday or it is Friday. Literally, your life revolves around work. And that is why it is very important that even as you go into consultancy, you are able to manage your timings properly. It is not very easy to do because client needs are client needs. And then there are those clients who feel like they are supposed to call you anytime. So a client is calling you at 9 p.m. and you're answering them. No, you have to sleep. Anyway, that aside, then we have last minute client and manager demands that can ruin your plans. You are planning for your holiday and you have decided that this is going to be my me time. No laptops. And the client says his so-and-so has quit. We need to replace them by Friday. I will tell you your laptop will go back to your packing thing, whatever. Because you're hustling. As a HR consultant, you are a hustler. So those last minute changes and demands can actually be very, very demanding. Then of course there is the potential burnout because of the long hours. So this is where you also have to really manage yourself properly. Because if you are constantly working, your body can only take so much before you finally burn out. So what are some of the things that you do for fun? Find them. If you are a gym person like me, I go to the gym for fun. When I am under pressure, I will go to the gym. When the client is stressing me, I will go to the gym. If I cannot sleep, I will go to the gym. Find something that it's fun to you so that you can handle the pressures that come with consulting. Again, if you have not taken anything from this conversation since we started, please remember, as a HR consultant, your other name is hustler. Thank you. Then we have the post-consulting life. There are a lot of open doors, or a lot of doors will open up for you as a consultant, depending also on how aggressive you are as an individual and as a business owner. And this is based really on how far do you want to push this thing. Are you so comfortable in recruitment that you cannot try any other thing? Are you so comfortable in training that you cannot try any other thing? Because there are a lot of organizations that are actually looking for the services that you can offer. So look out for those open doors. Number two, on the advantageous side, given how often or how long you have consulted, you have built credibility. People will be able to buy your services based on the credibility that you have built over time. And like I said, when I started, this is a referral business. When somebody is looking for a trainer, they will think, oh, there's Anne from Atara. Let me reach out to them. They trained my staff last time. This is her number. Please talk to them. And they will be able to see what they can do to assist you. So somebody will only give out your number based on the kind of services that you provided them. So credibility. On the flip side, there is the lower pay in industry compared to consulting. Now, you have moved from consulting and you are going back to employment. You know, in consulting, there's a month you could make 300,000, and then there's a month you could make 100K or 50. And then now you come back into working again, and you have been offered a salary of 150,000 that is consistent. You know, it gives you a lot of emotional damage. So you want to look at, do I want to continue with consulting throughout, or do I want to explore employment post-consulting? Also, on the other side is you would require, if you're going back into employment after consulting, you would require to keep your background quiet in some industries, because there are employers who are very wary of people who said, I have been a consultant for this number of time and now I am looking for employment. They will look like, to them, you will look like somebody who will not sit, who will not stick around, or somebody who will try to steal their clients, or because you have worked with competitors in the same field, they have trust issues, etc. So, you know, it is what it is though. If the consulting business does not work for you, of course you have to pay your bills. So you will need to go back to employment. So being an independent consultant, it is very challenging and rewarding. That is a very good advantage. Challenging in terms of the cons that we have just discussed, and rewarding in terms of the pros that we have discussed. Number two, you also charter your own career path. There are things that you would not be able to be exposed to in your current organization as a HR professional that consultancy will expose you to. Like, for example, you have never done a job evaluation as an employee, but here is a situation where you have a client who is looking to do a job evaluation. You will have to learn what job evaluation is, and you will have to give it a try and see. Also, there is the advantage of the good compensation. Although this is fluctuating, it is an on and off kind of arrangement depending on who your clients are. There is a high degree of flexibility. As a consultant, you can attend your children's play day in school. That if you were to ask your employer to give you that day off, they will be wondering what is wrong with you. You can be able to be in Diani and working from there as a consultant, whereas if you are employed, you have to work from your office on a day-to-day basis. Also, consultancy gives you a network of opportunities, networking opportunities, because your business is going to come from the people that you have interacted with, or the people that you know, or the people that know you, etc. So networking is a priority. And then the other thing is, as a consultant, you are always learning. You can never stop learning, because a client will always come with another problem that, you know, you have not really been directly exposed to, but you are supposed to solve it. So how do you do it? You learn. And when you tell a client, no, you know, that one I cannot do, it becomes a problem. In fact, they start to not trust you. Instead of telling them, I will see what I can do, and then you actually go out there and see what you can do, and then you do it. On a disadvantage side, being an independent consultant, the income is unstable. This month you will have 500,000, like I have said. Next month you will have 50,000. So it means that you have to plan your bills very well as a consultant, because when you have money, you have money. And then when you don't, you are very broke. So you have to look at that. Then there is always constant change. You have, and we talked about adaptability and flexibility before. Because of these changes, what you are doing in the other industry, in the manufacturing industry, is not what is expected of you to be doing when you are handling the creatives in the marketing agency. If you handle those two employees in the same manner, you will see dust. Then also, as an independent consultant, the benefits are not there. In fact, the benefits, you have to create them for yourself. If you're looking for a medical cover, you have to take it on a personal level, because the client is not going to take it on your behalf. Of course, there is no job security, because you are only as good as your last client. Once that client has paid you and you have spent the money, you go back to looking for a new client and being broke. Also, there are long working hours and high travel costs. And some of these costs can always be taken up by the client depending on how you negotiate. But when it comes to long working hours, that is something that is very real, that you have to really make a decision on how to control Otherwise, you will spend the rest of your life working. Then also, finding new projects may be challenging. Of course, getting new clients is not very easy, because also as you're starting in as a consultant, you will find that it will take you time to be able to build a name for yourself in the industry. And that's where networking comes in. So you have to really be more aggressive in terms of getting new clients. So how do you transition from a HR professional to a consultant? First of all, the first step is, as a consultant or a wannabe consultant, you have to understand what is your value proposition to your potential clients. As I am coming in and saying, my name is Anne Wamonje, I am a HR consultant. What am I offering this potential client in terms of the solutions to their problems? What is the value proposition that you're offering your potential client? Why should they choose you to do their consultancy work? So you have to really lay down your value proposition for the business or you as an individual and say, when I approach client A as a consultant, I am going to be offering them one, recruitment services, but not just any other recruitment services. My turnaround time for their recruitment is 3 weeks maximum. I am offering them top tier candidates. Every time I recruit, I have to give them at least 4 potential candidates for them to choose from so that they can be able to make a final decision, etc. So you have to really think through what the value proposition is that you're offering. Number 2, who are you going to be partnering with, and what are the activities that you will be involved in? Like I have said, you are not an expert in all things HR, no matter how good you are. When you come into consultancy, you have to establish what are my strong points. And then you are looking at who can I partner with, so that when a client says, I am offering you this job, but you know deep down in your heart you are not able to deliver it, you will still say yes to that client. Then you have a partner on standby who you can be able to work with to deliver that job for the client. And in terms of the activities, what exactly are you looking to focus on in HR? Do you want to be known as a HR consultancy firm? I know there are firms that offer change management only. That is their expertise and that is what they are known for. There are those ones that are specific to trainings and team buildings. There are those ones that are very specific to HR outsourcing services. So what they do is actually they recruit people and second them to the client. So what exactly do you want to do? If you want to be all in one kind of household, it is fine. You just have to understand, do I have the people that I need to be able to offer the kind of services that I am saying that I am offering? And one of the biggest mistakes you can make as somebody who is just coming in is to hire personnel without having the work. How will you pay them at the end of the month? Because once you have brought them on board, they become your responsibility as your employees. So you have to have the work before you have the personnel. That is why partnerships come in. Then you are looking at the key resources. What do you have at your disposal at this time to utilize as a consultant? If the client is giving you work and they're telling you, I want you to recruit for me, do you have a LinkedIn premium do you have a LinkedIn premium account that you can be able to do direct sourcing with? Or do you have to directly advertise? And if you're advertising, are you advertising through a Gmail account or you're advertising through a business account? Because if you're using a Gmail account, credibility, like we had spoken about, is going to disappear. Also, you have to do customer segmentation. Why is customer segmentation important? You have to categorize your clients, and especially if you are handling SMEs. I will tell you out of experience, SMEs are some of the clients that you will work with mostly as a consultant that is just starting, because their problems are also your kind of level problems as you are starting out as a consultant. So you have to know, where do I place my SMEs? Then where do I place corporates? Where do I place nonprofits? Where do I place government? Because that is going to determine your cost evaluation. What you are charging an SME will not be the same price that, even if it is for the same service, it will not be the same as what you are charging a corporate. It will not be the same as what you are charging a non-profit. And because their financial muscles are different. And I can tell you, and this one, we joke about it, some of the clients that have the most problems are the ones that pay the least. If you doubt it, you can test it. The one that wants to call you until 10 p.m. at night because they just had a nap and they had a nightmare that one of the staff did not report to work tomorrow. So they want you to anticipate that problem. They are the ones that when you go to negotiate the price, they want to pay you very little money. So segment your clients, because it will be able to help you in cost evaluation. Then when it comes to the aspect of cost evaluation, look at, how do I cost my services? And the cost of your services is dependent on the scope of work, the number of staff that establishment has, because the more people, the more problems. So it means that it will require a lot of your time to be able to deal with the employee-related issues in there. If it is a training that you're costing, you're asking yourself, what is the topic of the training? Because sometimes the topic of the training will not be in your area of expertise. Like somebody wants you to train for them on data protection, but you are not a data protection expert. You will have to look for a partner to come and work with. So as you cost for that project, you have to look at, what will I be paying the partner that is actually delivering the training, and I am still remaining with some money. At the same time, you are looking at, how much time am I spending on that training? Is it 3 hours? Is it the whole day? Is it a virtual training? Is it a physical training? Is it within my area of vicinity, or do I have to travel out of town? etc. So those are the factors that you look into when you are costing. Then you look at the market analysis. You are not the only HR consultant in the business. In fact, you are the youngest HR consultant in the business as it is now. So it means that what PKF is charging for a similar service is not what you can be able to charge. So you have to look at the market. What are the other consultants charging? That is not public information, but as you network, you will be able to talk to people and you will get the information that you require over time. But you're not even just looking at the market, the consultancy market by itself, even the industries that you are consulting in. You are also supposed to analyze that so that it still comes back to the aspect of costing. Then you need to have an attractive name for your business. I know we are sentimental about this part. Just find a name that resonates with the kind of business that you are doing. If you want to name it after yourself, just know that Anne Wamonje and Anne Wamonje Consultancy are two different entities in the eyes of the law. But find something that resonates with the business that you are doing, so that when your client asks you, tell us a little bit about your business name, you are not wondering, where do I start? Because you don't even know where that name came from in the first place. So find a name that, is attractive and makes sense. Then target audience. Who are you consulting for? The client at this point is very, very important. Who do you want to work with? And again, as a HR consultant, you do not have to work with everybody. I know as you're starting out, you're taking up every job that comes along. It is allowed, it is fine. But as you grow and as you move forward, there are some clients that you have to tell them, I know we've come from far, but due to unavoidable circumstances, we have to part ways. You'll find a professional language to use. But The point I'm trying to put across here is who is your target audience? Because also clients that do not share the same values as you. So those are clients that you have to be wary about. Like for instance, and I am going to give this example without, if somebody feels attacked, please feel attacked. I am just giving that as a disclaimer. But assume that you are a very staunch religious person. And then you have this potential client that is an atheist organization. Do you think you share the same values that you would be able to actually work with them properly? Because some of those things look minor, but they are actually very major. Because there are people who turn down jobs because of the values that they share vis-a-vis the values that the client shares. So please look at that. And then, as a consultant, what do I look at as a potential business?
And you may need to start summarizing, eh?
Yes,
it's
yes.
9:17. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So when I am engaging you as a consultant, I want to look at your HR expertise. I want to look at your ethical conduct. And here, I will go to your profiles on LinkedIn and every other place that you find yourself online, because I want to see what people are saying about you and the reviews. Then I also want to see the strong project management skills that you possess. And we talked about the timelines here, and we talked about project management and deadlines and whatnot. Then also ability to take feedback in stride. I know there are consultants who cannot handle negative feedback. As a consultant, please note that the client will not always be happy with you. When they say they are unhappy, what you need to be asking is, what can I do to make it better, and find a way to make it better. Also, strong communication skills, because this is, if you lack communication skills, how will you pitch business? And also, how will the client believe you if you are not able to communicate? Then you must also be willing to collaborate with others, because you will be working with people that are outside of your general comfort. So what are the strategies to get clients? First, you have to network. Then we talked about referrals. This is a business of word. Then you have to have a lead magnet, and this is where you have the social media, your website, everything. How are you getting your leads? Then, of course, create expert content. When you go to LinkedIn, you will see a lot of very ridiculous comments that people put there so that they can be able to get the reach that they are looking for. You will find yourself joining that crowd, because you have to find business. We've talked about collaboration. Also, there is the cold outreach, where you just directly approach people without necessarily having them asking for your kind of services. And then, of course, the online communities that you find. Those are areas you have to focus on. So how, as the client chooses you, you must also choose the client. Very important. So what are some of the things you look at when you're choosing a client? First, you look at your area of expertise vis-a-vis the TORs that they have. Then you have to look at the timelines versus the deliverables. I recently saw an advertisement of somebody who was looking for a HRO to be a HR consultant. And they had given the project timelines of 2 months. And I looked at the scope of work, and even me as a seasoned HR, I will not deliver that job in 2 months. So if the client is giving you ridiculous timelines and deliverables, then you have to really think wisely. Do I have to work with this person? Because will I be able to deliver? Also look at their budget vis-a-vis their ability to pay. And this is tied to the deliverables again. If the workload is from here to China and the budget is for an intern, you have to decide whether I want to take up this consultancy work or not. And then also, will they be able to pay? Those clients that are taking you round and round and round, you have to be very wary of them. Also, you have to look at the ethical considerations. I've talked about your values vis-a-vis the client values. And this is, you will also be able to look at the reviews that exist as far as this client is concerned. If other consultants have told you, please be wary of that client, and you have decided you are the understanding girlfriend, do not come and say, I did not warn you. So we have also red flags for clients. What are the red flags to look out for in a potential client? Unrealistic expectations. The client has provided you a 1 month timeline. The budget is an internship budget, but the scope of work is from here to India. You have to be able to really think through whether you want to work with that person. Also, non-payment for services, that is an issue, a real issue, because as a consultant, you are dependent on the money that the clients pay. So if they have a problem with paying, then you must also have a problem with working with them. Also, there are those clients who still want to micromanage you. They have brought you in as a consultant, but they want to treat you as their in-house HR, so that they tell you to jump and you ask them how high. Instead of telling them, if you jump, you are going to break your leg. So look at how they are really managing or treating you as a consultant. Then there are clients who do not communicate properly. They give you half information, or they expect you to read their minds, and it becomes really very difficult to understand what are my exact deliverables, because at the end of the day, as a consultant, you will be judged based on your deliverables. And finally, disrespectful clients. There are clients who are actually really disrespectful. And as a woman in this business, there are clients who will call you in and you will see the disrespect from the door. The way they speak, you come in and they're speaking in their mother tongue, and they know very well that you don't understand their mother tongue. I do not want to work with a client like that, because that, I don't know whether they're gossiping me. The client is the one who is expecting you to serve tea to their staff. That is not part of your role as a consultant, unless it is within the scope of work. So I think I have tried to be able to cover it from both sides in terms of what the client is looking at and what you as a consultant, you should be able to look at. So this is the part where Grace says, do we have any questions?
Thank you very much, Annie. Yes, we do have a couple of questions, and thank you for having an excellent presentation. And you see why we are your consultants of choice. Please give us business. We do this every day. And if you're transitioning, please welcome aboard. And I think we can just take two questions in the interest of time. I've seen a lot of people wanting to ask a lot, but let's just take these two. I think one of the things that you left out is the formalities of establishing a HR consultancy firm. Besides business registration, I think you've talked about that. The other requirement is registration with IHRM. You need to be registered as a consultant with the Institute of Human Resource Management. And then you just do your formal registrations. If you want to run a business name, or if you want to run a limited company, those are some of the requirements that you need. And for IHRM, you must be, and this is for Kenya. For IHRM, it must be, you must have a practicing license. And the firm must be 50% Kenyan owned. So those are some of the policies, and you can check them out on their website for the requirements of HR consultancy firm. But Anne, how do you handle a client who does not heed your advice, especially when they are out to terminate or employ a new candidate?
As a consultant, you play an advisory role to the client. Advisory. It means that when you are brought on board, you do not sign any documents on behalf of the client, official documents. So whatever advice you give, it must be signed internally by the client. Like I said when I was presenting, up to them. However, you need to be able to record it that you actually gave that advice. So please do not force your advice down the client's throat. You give recommendations, and then the decision is made by the client, the final decision. Grace?
Yes. Yes. And I think one thing that we need to also be very clear about is our work is to also advise. And if they're not taking the advice, then you really can't force them. How do you deal with a client who keeps on adding tasks which were previously not in the contract, even when an in-depth discussion, even after an in-depth discussion on the contract?
You sit them down and you discuss the new scope of work, and then you agree on the new payment modalities. Because when you take up a job with a consultant, as a consultant with a client, one of the things you do is come up with deliverables and timelines. Anything outside of those deliverables must be able to be charged separately. So you don't just take up additional work and on the assumption that the client will pay. No, have a discussion with them and then revise the terms of reference. And then now you agree on the new charges, you agree on the documentation, and then you move forward. But don't tell them you can't do.
Right. And then Mercy is saying, at what point do you leave your job? Must you first work with an already existing consultancy firm for exposure, or can you start on your own?
You can start on, in fact, what you can be able to do is run them concurrently. The best way I would advise is probably run them concurrently. Don't just quit your job and start consultancy unless that is really the final option. But then you can be able to start small. You are working in a full-time job, but then there are these one-off projects that come up that you can be able to handle in the course of still delivering on your job. So then over time you transition as you move out. But resigning so that you can start your consultancy, you have to really do that when you have at least a solid client that you can transition to, so that there's continuity of income. Grace?
And we must remind them that by the time you run your business to pay you the amount of money you're earning right now, it's a lot of work.
The emotional damage alone cannot be quantified.
Yes. And Melanin, I see your question on proposal. I think that's an entire totally different conversation on how to write a proposal. I think maybe that's another time that we can do that.
Yes.
It's not, it cannot be done in just this session, really. And very excellent presentation, constructive feedback. Looking straight on the camera would be helpful to you and your audience. That is confidence. Wewe Edward Wangeshi, wewe wacha zako. And then I enjoyed every bit of the presentation. Does walk-in help when it comes to pitching? What does that? Walk-in, is it a walk-in client?
Walk-in, when it comes to pitching, I think one of the best ways to be able to approach the pitching is set up an appointment with the client. You know, you also have to look professional and not desperate. So you don't just walk into my office and you're not selling insurance. Insurance people are allowed to walk in and start pitching like that. You are a professional. So it means you want to come in and, you know, you leave your business card, you ask for their business card, you look for an appointment, and you come in when you're ready with the value proposition that we had talked about. So this one for insurance, I don't know. It does not work very well. It makes you look desperate.
Yeah, and when a walk-in will come, you can always pitch, but it's good to also meet them. I think this is the last question. What if your full-time employer gets to know you're doing consultancy? Don't you think it might cost the job loss?
Yes, it might, depending on who your full-time employer is. But then again, if you don't try it, how will you know that you can actually do it? Because if you want to be a consultant, if this is something you have thought about over time, you have to find a strategy on how to get into the consultancy business. And that strategy does not include you quitting your job and starting a consultancy business. It will end in tears. That is why we are suggesting that you are able to transition into it slowly. So you do not have to also go and start announcing to your colleagues that, you know, now I am doing consultancy work. That is your private business. It has no direct conflict of interest with your current employment, and so you move regardless. So if you get fired in the process, you know, it is the risk of doing business. It's called occupational hazard.
Certainly, certainly. And hey, John Manzi is saying, how do you handle those clients who offer small budgets for high qualifying positions?
You tell them the truth. And I think one of the things Grace and I have done over the last 12 months is just tell the client, if you want somebody with 15 years of experience and you are giving us a budget of 100,000 shillings, I think that is pushing it. So you have to be very realistic with the client, because you are going to spend so much time looking for somebody who does not exist. And then at the end of the day, the client thinks you have failed in that assignment. So tell them, if you are looking for this number of years of experience, let's have a budget at this amount. Otherwise, let's work with this number of years of experience within your budget. You will still be able to find a qualified person. They might need a little bit of training, but they will work. But if you hang your expectations up there and your budget is down here, then we might be looking for that person for a long time. Chris?
There's somebody who's saying, I have been a part-time consultant for over 5 years and my employer has never known. So yeah, Anne, maybe you can give us insights and welcome people to Tufaha.
Okay. So you have said insights, Grace. Insights for anyway. Let me
I've said parting shot.
All right. My parting shot into this entire conversation around consulting is consultancy is it's actually a very rewarding career, but you have to understand your area of expertise so that you do not oversell and underdeliver. And a lot of clients will be able to come and tell you, the reason I stopped working with the consultant is because they just did not understand what I needed, or they didn't understand what I am doing. So ensure that whatever you are selling to the client as a value proposition is actually what you are able to deliver on. So keep learning. For the jobs that you take up that you actually have no idea how they are done, find somebody who has an idea of how they are done and work with them. And you can even work with that person as their assistant. Your role there will be to learn how to get it done so that the next one that comes, you can be able to do it by yourself. Otherwise, if you are looking to transition from HR work in employment to being a consultant, make the transition smooth so that you also do not lose so much in terms of your income. And then you come back and say, you know, Anne did not warn us that it is fire out there in the streets. It is actually a lot of fire in the streets. But over time, you will be able to build your clientele, you will be able to build your credibility, and then you will not have to struggle so much. There are instances where you will have to even tell other clients that you can't work with them based on different reasons because your plate is full. But if you're looking to move forward, please don't be afraid, or just stay afraid, but keep moving forward. And somewhere along the way, you will figure it out. So thank you guys very much for the opportunity to make this presentation to you. I hope this gives you a bit more confidence in terms of your ability to transition to your consultancy business. On Saturday, this Saturday, we'll be in Tufaha in Nanyuki as Atara Solutions. So we have Kinyanjui, who is our speaker on legal matters. So please join us. If you have not registered, reach out to us, do your registration. Let's travel together to Nanyuki. Let's be able to learn and let's be able to share knowledge and enjoy ourselves in the process. There will be a lot of food, as Grace has said. I will be there for the food personally. So please come and join us.
Anne will be there for the food. I'll be there for the fun. And just Richard will be there for the learning. Jacinta will be there for the networking. So as we are set, Yes, and Edward, I hope to see you on Saturday. We are coming close to your town. There's no way you cannot not come. But there's somebody who's saying, Simon Frank says you have a ticket to Zanzibar in December 2025 for this amazing training. So thank you, Simon Frank. Simon Frank is one of our mentees in our mentorship program. And somebody else was asking whether you meant upcoming HR consultants. Maybe that is something.
But we have a mentorship program. We have concluded the first bit. We are working on the second cohort. So if you are looking to join our mentorship program, please feel free to just look out for our new poster. It's coming up very soon, next month, and we'll be able to share more details about it. So we are in the business of HR consulting, and HR mentorship is part of it. So we will be able to communicate in due course. Yes, Grace.
Yes. I have seen Tabitha Wawero saying, I will be in Nanyuki. See you in Nanyuki, Tabitha. Jacinta is saying, any platform for the mentees. Our mentorship program is very close and very guarded. So it's also charged. It's at a cost. So if you join your cohort, then you can form a cohort, and then we shall. It's a very interesting cohort, and you can get to learn more. Once we advertise, please be on the lookout. We need to have one in Kisumu. Yes, we actually will be having one in Kisumu, but most likely next year. This year we do. Last year we did Mombasa. This year we are in Nanyuki. Probably will do Kisumu next year. But that one is we're having conversations, and we shall definitely come down. Okay, so Emily, you can get in touch with us, and we will have your details and share details on how you can register for the mentorship program. Yes, so thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And there's somebody was saying whether HR consultancy is the same as HR business partner. Not exactly. They have a bit of businesses because sometimes one is internal, others are external. However, they probably are almost related, just almost. So thank you so much, guys. We shall see you in Tufaha on Saturday. Somebody is asking me when we are coming to Uganda. We are in Uganda on 25th, 24th, and 25th. For an emotional intelligence and mental health session. However, we shall see. But we need to plan for coffee in Uganda as well. We shall definitely come down, Mercy. Yes. Yes, please follow. If you're new here, kindly join our YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where the recording will be. And then Jacinta, you can resend the WhatsApp group. Kindly join our WhatsApp group to know what's coming up on Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, Atara Solutions. And let's connect on LinkedIn as well as Atara Solutions. Yes, and if you have not registered for Nanyuki, please do so. It is going to be amazing. When are you going to be in Rwanda? We were in Rwanda in November, and we'll probably do it sometime later. But yes, we have been traversing the entire country. We were in Rwanda in November, Tanzania in February. We are doing Uganda in April, and all these things are happening. Please keep it at Atara Solutions, and you'll get to know what's going on where. And you can please join us. Please join our WhatsApp group as well. And if you have not registered for Nanyuki, please do so. We want to have you. We want to have fun. We want to learn together. And you will enjoy Nanyuki. I promise, and I promise it will be one of the best places for you to be. So thank you so much. And you guys have a lovely, lovely night. See you on Tuesday. Same place, same time. Actually, on Tuesday, we are discussing a very interesting topic, which is mostly for you who wants to go and study in Canada. We'll let you know more about it. Keep it, get it right to the Atara Solutions. Have yourselves a good night.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Richard, you disappeared. I was not seeing you today. I didn't ask you to ask a question because I could not see you. Rosemary, see you on Saturday.
There are lines upon my face from a lifetime of smiles.